Hey, this is Lisa from the Bellrays, and you are listening to Collision on 99.9 Voice FM.
Hi, Kat. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's hot here, but you guys know about heat.
Oh, look, it's freezing where I am.
Really?
But anyway, you'll get to experience some of that yourself next month because the Bellrays coming to Australia again in August.
Oh, yeah.
You were here twice last year, weren't you?
2013.
2013.
Yeah. It just seems like it was last year because everything's going really fast these days.
Yeah. And like this tour, you were actually going to come with the Super Suckers, but unfortunately Eddie's become ill, so that tour had to be cancelled.
Yeah, and I think he's pretty much fighting. I try to keep track on that site that they set up for him, and we're sending them all our well wishes. But it sounds like a battle, but I'm sure they'll be back and ready to do more. So I have a lot of faith in what's going to happen with the Super Suckers and Eddie's situation.
Definitely. And you're coming back to Australia and you're actually doing a few regional stops this time as well. And you're bringing Australian band along now, Dallas Frasca.
Yeah, everybody seems to be talking about this band. I don't know much about them, but they must be pretty good. Everybody's talking about them.
Well, I think actually the two of you together, it's going to be a pretty explosive mix.
Awesome.
Yeah. The Bellrays, what have you been up to then since 2013?
Right before we came over there, we had just finished working on this other project, this Lisa and the Lips project, and we've been touring a lot on that. It's kind of a soul funk band, and that's actually one of the main reasons I'm in Spain touring on that record. Unfortunately, it kind of got in the way of the record that we were doing for the Bellrays, so we've just been kind of playing catch up with a lot of other stuff because this thing started to take off. So it's been a lot of fun, but it'll be nice to get back home and kind of finish this next record up, the next Bellrays record up.
Yeah. Well, you seem to be doing pretty well yourself between Lisa and the Lips and the Bellrays. You seem to be all over the world every time I speak to you.
We do. I mean, when it comes to that, I really cannot complain. I think we are definitely making the most out of our particular situation. And I'm very grateful and blessed to be able to do that. I mean, I love to sing and I get to do it for a living. So that's awesome.
But then you put a lot into it too. It's not like you're just, blessed to have that because you put a lot of hard work into it.
Yes. I call that blood equity.
Yeah. And your husband actually, he's in your band and he travels with you, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. That makes it a lot easier for the two of us.
Yeah.
He's also in the Lisa and the Lips band too, so it helps. He's my best friend. We've been doing this for, Jesus, I think this is the 25th anniversary of the Bellrays. So, yeah, we've been doing it for a while.
Yeah. And it's funny you say Jesus then too, because actually your live shows are a little bit of a religious experience, aren't they?
That's a nice thing to say. I hope so. I hope it is one of those things, though, that people just feel like, oh, my God, somebody, just imparted to me something that really mattered to them. Because that's where we're coming from more than anything else. Is just we've always had this thing about, even with other bands, it's like if you don't really have to be here, don't be here. If this is not the thing that you need to do because your life depends on you playing music, please stay home because there's a bunch of people out here where it really does matter to us, where this is the one thing that we want to do. And if that comes across in our shows, then we're doing that. I love that part of it.
Yeah. Well, is there something that you thought that like you might have been meant to do if you hadn't done music, or is this the only thing you feel right doing?
When you're a kid, you think about all kinds of things. My parents always wanted me to go into law. And I'm so glad I didn't do that. But I did work in like contracts and grants offices and did bookkeeping stuff and those kind of things. And I definitely am intrigued by that kind of work and an aptitude for it. But I don't think I would be happy doing any of it.
But then actually understanding those contracts in the music industry can be handy too.
Oh, I think it's one of the reasons that we've been able to actually survive as long as we have. Because, early on, what certain words like in perpetuity, oh, that means forever. And you guys would be able to control this stuff forever. And what would we be able to do? Nothing. Oh, we won't sign that.
No, well, we'll see. It has helped.
It has. I guess so. I haven't really thought of it in those terms, but it definitely has.
Yeah. Well, you said that Lisa and the Lips has sort of interfered with the Bellrays plans over the last 12 months. And I guess if it was 2013 you were here, then you haven't released an album for 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah. We were supposed to get it done right before we were coming to Australia the first time. We were supposed to have it done by then, and we were adding the last bit of touches onto that Lisa and the Lips record. We had just finished the recording, and then we had to do a lot of post work on it. So we kept thinking, oh, it's just going to be another month. Oh, it's just going to be another month. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, after touring and doing all this other stuff, you're like, damn, we got to get this record done. So we have all the songs recorded. We got some really good sounding stuff. It's just, you got to sit down and give birth to it.
I think what you probably have to do is take some time from traveling around the world and sit in one spot.
Yes, that's exactly what we have to do. You have to just kind of get your mind, your body, and soul all in the same vicinity and then go from there.
It must, I don't know, to me, it must seem strange, like waking up in different countries all the time and pretty much your home is the world. How does that feel?
You would not believe how strange. It's not, I don't want to say disorienting, because it's one of those things that too, where it's part of what you do. You go to different countries, you go to different cities, and you play for people so that they can experience what you want to give them. But at the time, it is a major sacrifice for comfort and continuity in your life. Like, you have to be very mentally flexible to do that. You have to really be a glass half full kind of person most days that you really don't want to be, just to get through it. Because and we do it super budget way, because that's the kind of band we are, because we're not into, there's some bands that'll come over, do 5 shows and then go back, and it's no big deal when you're in a place where you could clearly do maybe 30. We're not that kind of a band. We try to be as economically feasible as possible. And now with this Lisa and the Lips band, we go from having in Bellrays 4 people to having 8. So you really have to think about everything that you're doing and the way that you do it. And you have that many other people for personalities to bounce off of. So it just becomes a thing where, I don't know, it's not a Zen test, because it's never Zen, but it is one of those things where you're just kind of thinking, oh, okay, this could be worse.
Well, are you going to have any time off when you come to Australia?
I think maybe a day, maybe one day in there. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to do some fun stuff, or even just some sleepy time stuff.
Yeah, you're probably used to fitting in a lot of stuff if you want to sightsee in one day. But you're going to see pretty much all of the East Coast, plus you are popping over to Adelaide for a show. You'll be in Adelaide on the 14th of August. Very exciting for us here in Ballarat. You are coming to Corova Lounge on the 13th, Thursday the 13th of August. You'll be in Geelong the night before. You do start on the 7th and you're finishing up on the 15th in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're coming through Victoria to Adelaide and then back to Melbourne. I hope you have a really great trip here this time. But yeah, I think Australians are getting onto your shows. They see you live. They can't help but want to come back.
Yay.
Yeah.
I love it.
And it has been great talking to you. Is there something you'd like to actually say to your Australian fans about the upcoming tour?
Oh, just tell them I'm really excited. I'm so sorry that we weren't able to make it out earlier this year, but obviously everybody knows why. So it's just wonderful that we get to actually come and see everybody.
Yeah, and we're really looking forward to it. And tickets are actually on sale now for this tour through OzTix. So people go and find OzTix, or find the Bellrays on Facebook at facebook.com/Bellrays. And you are the Bellrays.com as well.
Yes.
And people can keep an eye on your world travels, and every time that we're lucky enough to have you pop down to Australia, they'll be first to know.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and I hope you find somewhere cool to sit today.
Yeah, it's just starting to get really hot here, so I won't tell you too much about that. You stay healthy, Kat, and we'll see you in a few weeks, I guess.